Hey folks, in today's video we are going to be creating a product finder with SKU level links that link off to your retailers both online and in-store. We're going to be going through the entire process of importing product data, importing location data, and then creating a locator that displays product lists at individual locations. And then we'll even explore some deep linking ideas where we could link from a product detail page to a locator that was filtered for that particular product. Stick around. Okay, so we're going to start with a few basic tools. The first thing is a free MetaLocator trial account. And so I've gone ahead and gone to MetaLocator.com, created a free trial, and I chose a scale plan. Some of the things that we're doing in this demo are going to require scale plan features, so make sure your trial is a scale plan. So that's the first thing you'll need is an account in MetaLocator where you can log in. The next thing that we are going to use are these sample data files. And so I'll link in the comments to where these can be downloaded off of MetaLocator's support page. If you want, you can go there right now. There's an example of creating a product finder. And so you'll see these sample files there. And we have basically two sample files. One is a list of stores. It's super simple. I just want to point out that we've got some like brick and mortar stores. And then we've got a couple examples, Amazon and Walmart. And then we've got a list of products. And so the products are going to have a SKU that stands for stock keeping unit. It's a relatively standard identifier for a unique identifier for products. And then we've got a name, and then we've got a link. This is completely fabricated, but this is an example of the link for that particular product. And then categories if you want them. You can also introduce other columns, but we're trying to keep this example as simple as possible. So before proceeding, make sure you've got a data file, a trial account, and you'll be ready to go. Okay, let's get started. The first step in the process is actually to import some of this sample data. Again, we're going to be importing two files, one for our locations and one for our products. And then we're going to start associating locations with products. We're going to do that manually. You can actually do that in bulk, and there's a couple examples on our support site of how to do that. Just to keep this demo simple, we're just going to kind of do it by hand. And so the first step in the process for me is going to be to import that file that we were just looking at. That was a CSV file. And so I'm going to go to locations and then import. And then it's going to ask me to drop my CSV here. And then I'm just going to pull that file that we were just looking at and import it. MetaLocator is going to match all these columns. Pretty straightforward, right? Name, address, contact information, a general link, not to be confused with the store link. And even we've got some hours. And then there's this column here that designates whether it's an online or in-store location. So I'm going to leave this at add because my account is empty. If you're kind of repeating this process, you can choose replace. Just be careful with replace because that'll wipe out everything that you have in your locations table. You can choose update existing and insert new, which is a little bit safer. And I'm going to say all these locations are in the United States. And now we've got that data in the system. And so I imported this data without latitude, longitude. And so I'm going to go ahead and geocode it. And while that's geocoding, I'm going to go ahead and import my product data. And so these menus look dangerously similar. And so just be careful. It's kind of easy to import your location or your product data right over your location data. And so the next thing we'll do is import a CSV of our products. So I'll just drag it in there. And it's SKU, name, and in this case, a link to the product, and then the category of the product. And so again, I'm just going to hit add because this account is basically empty. So now in our system, we've got locations and we've got products, right? But we don't know what locations offer what products yet. And so the first thing we need to do is create a special kind of field that's going to establish that link between those two, between the locations and products. And so I'm going to go to locations and then fields. And I'm going to make a new type of field. And I'm going to call it products at this location. This is a special type of field. Under field type, you want to choose related table. And it's way down at the bottom here. Related table link. And then the related table creates a relationship between locations and products. And so just make sure it's filled out just like that. And go ahead and hit save. And so now we have under our data, a new field was just created that updates the way that this location editor displays. We have a new tab that's named the same thing as that field we just created. If I called that, products, this tab would be called products. And it gives us a couple options. Add new products at this location or add existing products at this location. Existing products is probably the most common. Add new products means you're actually going to create a new product. In this case, we're not going to go through that. We're actually just going to pick some products that already exist. And so we're going to link these products to this location. And that was just kind of a random selection. Notice it says 5 records are selected. Click Save to continue. And so now if I go to products at this location, I can see that these products are offered at this particular location. So now we've got the link between locations and products at this location. So I'm going to do that for a handful of these. I just did it for Tacoma Plumbing. Let's also do it for Amazon. We're going to link a bunch of these products to Amazon to help kind of illustrate the online aspect of this as well. So those are now linked to these 2 locations. Now, manually associating locations with products could probably take a while, but as I mentioned in the intro, you can actually import the links between products and locations in bulk. This is an example of a linking file, and it's an association between the store and the SKU. In this example, store number is what's called an external key. That's a special type of field in the locations table. That's kind of a separate topic, and so I'm going to skip past that. But just so you know, if you're doing this at scale, you're really going to want to import those links automatically. And so, or I should say in bulk. And so now we've got location data, it's geocoded. We've got product data, it's all imported. And then we've also got links between a couple of locations and products. And so now our data is basically set up the way that we want it. And the next step in the process is going to be to create an interface that shows all this stuff. Now that we have all our data imported correctly, we're going to go ahead and make a new interface. So over on interfaces, go ahead and click new. I choose rich media. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. Rich media just happens to be in my muscle memory. And so the first thing we're going to do is actually enable online results. So I'm going to go down to buy online, and I'm going to show a buy online tab. And that's going to give me, I think I designated a couple locations as in-store and online. And so online looks pretty bleak at this moment because online results have not been configured. And so we can see though that there are 3 there. But let's edit those online results and at least add the name to the result card. And so let's go over here and find name in the system fields. And so now we can at least see the ones that are marked as online and then in store. And so now we've got a basic locator that has online options and in-store options. You could, of course, add a logo to this results card, like if you wanted to insert like an image. I don't know that I have images in this data, but you can otherwise configure the results card the way that you want it. And the next step is actually now to display the links to the products that these individual locations offer. And so we're going to do that in a couple places. We're going to do it on this results card here, and then we're also going to do it on the online results card. And so let's just start with in-store, and I'm going to do that under results and then edit list. And so I'm going to go ahead and add a field to this. So right now, as you can see, as I highlight my mouse over this, it shows me the selected item on the right as I move my mouse. So I'm going to go ahead and add a field. I'm going to add a user field. And in this case, it's actually going to be the products at this location. And so what that's going to do is drop in a list of all the products that are available at this location. And so I can move that kind of where I want it to display in the individual results card. And we're going to do the same thing for the online results. So let's go over to online and add the same field. So that's going to be products at this location. Sorry, it's a user field because it's one that we created. And I'm going to just drag that below the name so we can see that. And why don't we give the name a little bit of title style, like a H3, so it calls out a little bit better. And so now we can see that Amazon offers hammers, pliers, saws, and a sawmill, an entire sawmill, and forceps. And then this one offers these products. And so it's a pretty bleak layout, right? It's not super exciting. And so the way that you can modify which fields in your product table appear in this list is by editing the template that's used. So let's go back to list in this example, or results, and then list. And then we're going to modify products at this location. And down here you can see that we have this edit template button that shows up here. And what this defines is how the individual results are displayed. So you see here we have name, but we could also introduce link. And I don't think I imported prices, but you could also import price. And let's just import SKU as well. And these are fields in the products table. So let's save that. And so now notice that we've got more data coming out here, right? We've got the name of the product, we've got the link, there's no price, but then we've got this SKU listed here. So I'm going to put on my kind of HTML hat, edit this template a little bit more, and just say href equals the link, right? And then we'll call this, why don't we just drop the name right in here, and we can delete it from here so that we get a nice easy place to buy it, like so. And because this lives inside of an iframe, I'm going to say target equals underscore blank, and that's going to pop that open in a new window. And then we're also displaying the price and the SKU. Price right now is empty, but I'll just leave that kind of as is. And so now we can see we've got these individual links that are going to pop. So now I can see Tacoma Plumbing offers the industrial drill, and then when I click on it, it's going to go to Amazon in this example and search for an industrial drill. And so we could get into a lot of styling and editing of the online and formatting of these individual results. These are the essentials for getting a product finder up and running. And so the next steps in this video, we're going to actually show you how to use deep linking to link from a product detail page directly into this UI so that it only shows certain products. And so that will give you a great way to link from product detail page to really maintain that user journey and focus on a specific product. So now we've got our data imported. We've got an interface created, and now we actually want to integrate this with a product detail page. And the way we're going to do that is by using MetaLocator's deep linking. And so there's a couple things that we need in place before we can actually demonstrate this. We've got this interface created, but we actually need to install it somewhere. And so when you're done configuring your interface, you can hit save and close, and it'll give you the installation code. And so if it doesn't pop up automatically, that means you have more than one interface, but you can just click install there. And so I'm going to go ahead and paste that on a super simple web page. And let me just drag that web page into view here. And so this is a relatively basic page. Just take out my test here. And so this shows the locator that we've built, and it's installed on a website, right? Relatively straightforward. Customers can arrive directly to this, and they can see all the products and locations that you have. The other thing, though, is that you might have a product detail page, right? That is, you might have products on your site, and you want to develop where to buy buttons. And this is a super basic product detail page. I obviously haven't put a ton of time into this one. But what we're going to do is use deep linking to link from this page over to the page that hosts the locator in such a way that it filters the locator on this page by a specific SKU. And the way to do that is with deep linking. And so I've got an example here in my clipboard. And I just want to talk about the anatomy of this special URL parameter. All MetaLocator deep linking parameters start with ML_. That sounds kind of complicated, but it really is a way of us not stomping over any URL parameters that you might have. It'd be pretty rare for somebody else to pick ML_, and that's been pretty safe for about the last 10 years. And so I've got this link here, ML_SKU products equals 400. This is actually a reference to the table that this field is in. And so if I load this page, it's going to filter the interface on this page down to only locations that have that product with SKU 400. And so let's change the SKU here a couple times. Let's change it to like 380 and let's see how the results change. So 380 switches over. Now we just have the in-store results, right? And because this one offers the portable saw. And then we could switch over to, I think I had put the 402 product just with online, that SKU equals 402. And then that will allow us to show, in this case, just Amazon. And that's the essentials of deep linking. And so if I wanted to hook my product detail page up to this, all I have to do is modify this link in such a way, I'm just going to do it right in the browser here, where it contains, if I could do that correctly, where it contains that link that we were talking about. And so this link right here links to your site, right? And it includes the special link that passes through your site and into the locator. And so you can drop this sample, this type of URL on any product that's displayed on your site anywhere. All you have to do is dynamically insert the SKU that you've imported into MetaLocator, and then the locator will automatically filter by the SKU that you've chosen. So these are the essential elements of importing product finder data, creating a product finder interface, and then doing that dynamic deep linking. Obviously, we haven't gotten into any styling, good UX practices, CSS, all that stuff. We really focused on mechanics here, and hopefully that allows us to kind of stay away from the fluff and really focus on the functionality. If I was going to actually implement this in a real world situation, we would spend a good amount of time styling this to make it look really aligned with the customer's brand standards. And then probably obviously in the Amazon results we want to link to Amazon, right? But we showed you how to do that on the in-store tab. So there's a lot of detail in here to finish, but these are the essential mechanics to getting all the pieces working together. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you need any additional assistance, reach out to support@metalocator.com. Thanks.